Hi everybody, my name is Cougar Draven, and this is the second in a series of videos I'm going to be doing about philosophical concepts. I'm recording the first two back to back because they're in my head. Um, I don't know when the next one's going to be because I don't have any ideas in my head right now. I'll probably do something, hopefully within a week. But nonetheless, the first video was on utilitarianism, and this one is going to be on something less close to my heart, but still something I understand pretty well, and that's Kantian deontology, or deontological ethics, or just Kantian philosophy. It's all based off of the work of the Christian philosopher Immanuel Kant back in, oh hell, I think the 17th century, but I can never get that. I can never get the century system straight on the first try. I think he was the 1600s though. I don't remember names and dates too well unless they're important, and it wasn't on a. It has never been on a test I've ever taken. That said, Immanuel Kant believed that the only true good, the only intrinsic good, was goodwill. By which he meant that it wasn't your actions that matter, like a utilitarian. Um, Actions are what are judged, not. It doesn't matter what you doesn't matter why you do something. It just matters what you do. But with deontology, it's the other way around. It's a question of duty. What it is your duty to do, and Kant held that your intentions are what matter because your goodwill is more important than what you do. You can do the right thing for the wrong reasons, and you're not committing a moral act. You're just doing a thing. Your actions are laudable if you do a good thing, but if you do a good thing for reasons which are not sufficiently moral, then you're not worthy of moral praise. You're just to be celebrated for doing a thing. And the way Kant held this was that, the most important thing, like I said, the most important thing is your goodwill. But for Kant, anything you do with an ulterior motive is not a moral action. Now, that doesn't necessarily say that it's an immoral action, just that it's not a moral action. Like, if I, okay, hypothetically saying, if I'm walking down the street and I come across a kitten in a tree, poor little kitten stuck in a tree, and I say to myself, I'm going to help that kitten, and I climb the tree and I get the kitten down, I've done a good thing. But if I got that kitten out of the tree because I wanted to pet the kitten, then that's a desire. If I got the cat out of the tree because I wanted to look good to the cat's owner, if I wanted to be a hero, those are all desires and they're not moral. On the other hand, if I went up the tree and got the cat, despite the fact that I'm afraid of trees and hate cats, and I don't want to do it, but I do it anyway, then I've committed a morally worthy act because I did the right thing despite the fact that I didn't want to do the right thing. Now, the problem for me with deontology is that I can't quite wrap my head around the idea that doing the right thing when you don't want to do the right thing is somehow better than doing the right thing when you want to do the right thing. I mean, I can understand the words, I can understand what's being said, but it's hard to really get my head around the idea that these things are intrinsic. Now, the other part to deontological ethics is the something called the categorical imperative, and there are two parts to the categorical imperative. There's the humanity interpretation, and then there's the consistency interpretation. I'm probably using the word interpretation where I shouldn't. No, formulation, not interpretation. It's pardon me, it's like 11:30 at night. I'm just a little tired. Um, the humanity formulation of the categorical imperative states that you can never use another person as a means to an end only. They have to be an end unto themselves, by which is meant people have dignity, they have inherent dignity, they have inherent worth, and they're not to be abused. They're not to be used, they are to be respected. And that makes sense on the surface of the things, but then you realize that what Kant said was, actually, you know what? I'll deal with criticisms later. Um, the second portion of the categorical imperative is the consistency formulation, which states that your maxim has to be universalizable, which is a bullshit Dr. Seuss word, but what it means is your maxim is the idea in your head when you go to commit an act. Like, if you go to save a kitten from a tree, well, no, that's no, like if you go to save it, like basically what it says is that your idea has to be an idea that is strong enough that if everybody had that same idea, you could still get what you need done. Like the biggest thought experiment on that is lying. If you lie to get what you want, it's not a universalizable maxim, because if everybody lied to get what they want, then no one could get what they want because no one would be honest about anything. There are two ways that you can fail the categorical imperative. One of them is a failure of will, which which results in an imperfect duty, and one is a failure of conception, which results in a perfect duty. The idea of a failure of conception is the lying test, because if a maxim is not universalizable, that means it's a failure of conception, and therefore it's a perfect duty. So human beings, according to Kant, have a perfect duty not to lie. On the other hand, we have an imperfect duty to help people, because you might say, oh, well, your maxim is universalizable, that I will help people to the best of my extent. And that's true. But sometimes you can't do that, because sometimes you have to choose when to help people. Sometimes to help one person, you have to not help another person. And so you have to tell the second person, I'm sorry, I can't help you right now because I'm busy. I'm doing something else. I'm helping someone else. And that's a failure of will, meaning you can't always do it. You should still do it, but you may not always be able to. And then, obviously, perfect duties outweigh imperfect duties, because, if in order to help someone you have to lie to them, you can't do that, because that's not how that works. I think later on I'll probably get into the criticisms of deontology, but for right now that'll do it. Thanks for watching, guys. If you have any questions, leave a comment on the video. Click like if you like the video. Subscribe if you want to see stuff like this, or you can go over to my other channel and watch me play video games terribly. It's your call. But until next time, my name is Cougar Draven. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.